That is the truth about the credit card debt strategies that banks would rather you ignore, even though they are legally required to provide some of them. Americans now owe more than $1.17 trillion in credit card debt. And most are paying it the slowest and most expensive way. Let me tell you what is going on here, because once you see how math works, you don't see it. According to the Federal Reserve Bank of New York, the total credit card debt of the United States climbed to $1.17 trillion in the third quarter of 2024, averaging about 21.5% in April, a record high. In addition, the 90-day delinquency rate pushed up to about 11.1%, the worst data since 2011. If you think you are drowning, you don't imagine the system was designed to keep you where you are. Here is what most people will never understand: how bills grow. Credit card interest is not compounded monthly, but daily, which means your APR is divided by 365, a tiny number that will be applied to your average daily balance every day. On 22% of APR cards, that is about 0.06% a day, folded quietly while you sleep. Add in the minimum payment, which is usually only 1 to 3% of the balance plus interest, a structure that extends the normal credit card balance to more than 20 years of repayment. None of this was an accident. This is the product. It is an industry term that tells you all you need to know about how the business actually works. In the credit card world, customers who pay their balance in full each month are called nerds, a literal slang term because they are the least profitable people in the bank when it comes to interest. Profitable customers are customers with balance, month after month, which is the whole business model in one sentence. Now let's see what is holding us back. Technically, none of this is a secret, but it is hidden behind the details and rarely promoted because each measure cuts bank revenue. The first strategy is a balance transfer card. Major issuers like Citi, Chase, Wells Fargo, and Discover offer a profile APR of 0% for balance transfers, typically 12 to 21 months, while transfer fees are typically between 3% and 5%, reducing the 22% balance to zero, saves thousands of dollars. Here is a warning from CFPB that you must settle your balance before the end of the promotion period, or the standard interest rate will take effect again. The second strategy is to call issuers and simply demand lower interest rates. That sounds too basic and doesn't work, which is why most people never try. A survey by LendingTree in 2023 found that about 76% of cardholders who asked issuers to reduce APR actually received APR, down an average of about 6 percentage points. A phone call will cut your interest rate by 6 percentage points, and most people put their money on the table because they think the answer is no. You can also ask for difficult plans when someone is on the phone. Chase, Capital One, American Express, Citigroup, Bank of America, and others have formal hardship plans to temporarily reduce your interest rate, waive fees, or set up a revised payment plan for you. They don't advertise anything about it, which means you have to call it by first name. The third strategy is to choose a way to return and stick to it, which has two main ways. The avalanche method allows you to pay the lowest cost of everything while putting every dollar into the highest APR card, which mathematically saves you the most money. The snowball method, popularized by Dave Ramsey in 2003 in Comprehensive Monetary Reform, allows you to attack the smallest balance without considering interest rates, purely for psychological victory. Here is where it gets interesting. A 2012 study by the Kellogg School of Management at Northwestern University found that people who use the snowball method were more likely to eliminate debt entirely. Math points to avalanches, behavior points to snowballs, and the best way to do that is to actually stick with it long enough. Strategy 4 is bi-weekly, or snowflake, because interest is calculated based on your average daily balance. Multiple small payments in a month, rather than a one-time payment on the due date, directly reduce your interest expense, thus reducing your reported credit utilization and increasing your credit score. So a small action will quietly benefit you, not the bank. The fifth strategy is debt consolidation loans. Personal loans for consolidation typically run 7 to 25% in April, often well below credit card rates. And the industry's lenders include SoFi, Lightstream, Goldman Sachs' Marcus, Discover, and most credit unions. You're not eliminating debt, but moving it to a cheaper, fixed structure, rather than growing on you every day. The sixth strategy rarely discussed is nonprofit credit counseling. Institutions recognized by the National Credit Advisory Foundation, which can negotiate directly with creditors on your behalf. Run debt management plans, typically lowering interest rates to 6 to 10% and consolidating everything into a single payment over 3 to 5 years. The whole thing is regulated, nonprofit, and has been around for decades, but most people have never even heard of it. Now, I have to warn you about the dark side of this conversation, because if you search online for credit card debt advice, you run into something really dangerous. The first is debt settlement. These companies negotiate one-time payments that fall short of what you owe, and sometimes earn about 40 to 60 cents a dollar, ostensibly magical. The problem is that your credit score has been severely damaged in the process, and any forgiven debt over $600 is reported to the IRS as 1099. See taxable income. The FTC tracks a long list of predatory clearing companies that are barred from charging upfront fees under the 2010 Telemarketing Sales Rule Amendment. So if anyone asks for money before actually solving any problems, please leave the conversation immediately. The second is more serious. If you've seen a video promising that you can use promissory notes, value acceptance bills, Stroman theory, or UCC documents to erase credit card debt, these are fake legal scams by sovereign citizens, which US courts have repeatedly rejected. People end up facing fraud charges for trying. So the whole category is not secret tactics, but traps disguised as traps. This is the regulatory context most people miss when they see their statements. The Credit Card Act of 2009, signed by President Obama on May 22, 2009, is why your statement today shows how long it will take to pay only the minimum amount to pay off the balance. As the law forces banks to disclose information in front of you. 2 years later, the CFPB was created in 2011 under the Dodd-Frank Act to keep a close eye on the industry. In March 2024, the CFPB finalized a rule limiting late fees on most credit cards to $8, below the average of about $32. The rule is already tied to legal challenges, so the current state is worth checking before making any assumptions. There is also history to explain the modern credit card industry. You can write off your taxes until the Tax Reform Act of 1986 ended interest deductions on personal credit cards. Once deductions disappear, the entire profit dynamics of consumer credit change, and we end up in the modern credit card industry we're all dealing with now. Let's get back to where we started. The video revolves around a secret that banks don't want you to know, because that is how this stuff is marketed online. But frankly, these strategies are not real secrets at all. They are public and regulated, and some are provided by banks themselves. The problem is that they never get promoted, because every time you use one, the bank makes less money. Tough plans exist. A lower AP bar requires only one call. Non-profit credit advisors sit there waiting for you to call. The balance transfer offer may be in your email today. Bi-weekly payment technology will never cost you anything. The system makes money on inertia, idleness, and the lowest cost people pay for autonomous driving for 20 years in a row. If you're in credit card debt now, you don't need secrets. You need to choose one of the methods that suits your situation and actually do it this week. Because every day you wait, the daily cycle rate will run exactly as designed. This is the real strategy that banks do not advocate. It is not a hoax, it is just an act.